We are back. How the hair are you? This is your guest, Dr. Crystal Porter. Here with my in-studio guest, Alicia Nesbary, and we are here discussing her hair and her experiences in her life. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because we discussed some of the hardships that she had, or some of the social challenges that she had, not necessarily hardships, but you didn't get a lot of embracing of what you wanted to do with your hair. So, but you talked about Black women in particular. But I want to move on to the men, because I have found when I talk about hair that men are, if not even more, like inquisitive and just interested about what I do and how I help and support women, but they have very strong opinions about what we do with our hair. So I want to get your perspective of that, because you said you got married 2 years ago, but you've been natural since way before then. And you were saying that you go to parties and you didn't get attention, but something happened.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about that. So how long have you known your husband?
I've known him throughout, we went to grammar school and high school together.
Okay.
We kind of reunited, so I've always known him.
Okay. So he's known you through all the transitions.
Yeah.
So did he go through that with you, so to speak, even if it was from afar?
Yeah, we were
Okay.
friends.
Okay.
So he's seen me go from long perm hair to teeny weeny afro to now this big afro that I have now.
Did you guys talk about it?
Oh, definitely. He actually came to visit the weekend that I was there, and I just chopped off my hair. And he was like, "Oh my god." He like came to visit or something.
Yeah,
Like he just came to visit me, and then I just came out of the bathroom and I didn't have any more hair. And he was just like stared at me like, "What is going on with you?" And then he came to visit because his grandfather died, so he just needed some time to get away. And so we both went back for the funeral, and I didn't have any hair. And his family was like, "What are you doing? Like, what is that?" My mom actually straightened it out for me, so like this little cute little pixie cut, but I didn't know it yet. But then when I watched it the next time, they found out that, yeah, I cut off my hair out.
Oh, wow. So he thought you were probably going through, so it definitely wasn't a midlife crisis, but you were going through a crisis of some sort.
Yes.
Okay. And when you explained to him exactly what you were doing, what was his reaction?
He's like, "Oh my god." Oh my gosh. So I think he's like a lot of other men out there, particularly Black men. They like a lot of hair.
Okay.
He likes like hair, just hair. He doesn't care if it's long and straight or big and afro-y.
Okay.
So he just doesn't like short hair for some reason.
Oh.
And so my dad's the same way, but my mom has a really short little cute afro. But I think it's because it's kind of big. But yeah, they like hair. It's weird.
You know, your dad may have an opinion, but what I have found is for men who are with their women, especially, you know, women that they love and adore, they have an opinion, but they will just deal with whatever.
They just go with it. They just go with it.
Older men are, you know, they kind of like, well, you know, I have an opinion, but they're going to do what they want.
Yeah.
But the young men here on the campus of Chicago State, those are the ones who have really surprised me, because anytime I talk about the radio show, and I've had meetings about the show in like an open forum or area, and there'll be some Black guys listening, and they'll be like, "Oh, if you want me on the show, I'll come and I'll talk about, you know, what I think."
Sure.
And, yeah, because what I have found is most Black men in particular, when they say natural hair, they don't mean natural like we mean natural.
Right.
They want hair that is yours.
Yeah, exactly.
They are not usually too fond of the wigs and the weaves. And I was shocked to hear just how they express their opinions to me about how they feel about it. And they're like, "Oh my God, you help women with their hair? Oh, let me introduce you to my sister.
Because they need so much help,
my
right?
mother, my daughter, my wife, my girlfriend.
Right.
Yeah, so what has been so you have experienced your transitioning with your husband who wasn't your husband at the time.
Right.
But what about the other reactions you've gotten from black men in particular?
So, it's like, oh, you're bold, that's different. That's different. So, oh, and that's cute. So it was like I was always a cute, different girl, like quirky. It reminded me a little bit of Freddie off of A Different World. You know, like everybody thought Freddie was cute and kind of quirky. Like that's how I was too. So I feel like I was in that category of cute, quirky, natural girl.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't until I revealed it out of the leaves that I really let it come out. But I was still in school at the time when I let it grow out and I wore my first twist down there. Everybody was like, "Whoa, like that's different."
Okay.
That's what a lot of guys will tell me. That's different. Now it's totally different. They're infatuated with this. Like, oh my God, your hair is amazing. So I get a lot of compliments, but this is what, 17 inches of hair. Of course, you're going to think it's amazing because it's big and bold and, yeah.
It reminds me of a lioness.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Wait, especially with the color, you know, it's really, really pretty. And
Yeah.
like you said, it is big and it's bubbled. So.
Yeah, but it took a long time to get here. And so it's like, okay, yeah, now I get to the benefits of it. But when I was transitioning, y'all didn't have no holler for me. Y'all wasn't thinking about my little hair. And so like my brother, he reminds me of a lot of young guys. He's 23. So he said he won't date girls with weave. He wants a girl to be natural. And I keep telling him, like, you know, it's levels, you know. Girls just don't have hair like mine overnight. It takes a process. So yeah, he reminds me of that guy that just wants the end product.
Right, right. And so when I heard about the opinions of men, one of the things that I said, I actually wrote about it in a blog. I was talking about how much men care about hair, but I think it's a learning opportunity for men because they don't understand the plight that women go through when dealing with their hair, may it be natural or not. And so when you want to go natural and the other extra effort that it takes to get to wherever you want to go with it, it's a process, and some people want to wear weave just so that they can deal with it.
Yeah, they can escape that.
And still live.
Yeah.
And not have their attention be all about their hair. So of course I get it as a woman, but I don't think that a lot of men understand it. So I think it's an opportunity for women to really discuss with their men why they're doing what they're doing. And I think the men would probably have a little bit more compassion.
So now the roles have reversed. So here I am with the end product, and my husband, he decided he wanted to grow out his hair. So he currently has a teeny weeny afro himself.
Okay. And when you say grow out, what is he trying to achieve?
So he wants like big Lenny Kravitz
Oh,
kind of hair.
wow.
Yeah. So which is very different for him because he's a Morehouse man. Shout out to all the Morehouse men out there. He's a Morehouse man, so he's very clean cut, prim and proper preacher. And you can imagine.
Is he really a preacher?
He's really a preacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's really a preacher.
And he's about to rock this Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, yeah. So you can imagine it's very different for his line of work. So it's funny that he's actually on the mic every Sunday at church, and so the whole congregation has witnessed his transition. So you can imagine the comments that he gets after church on every Sunday. It's like, okay, when you gonna cut that off? When you gonna grow out of this phase?
Oh, I'm sure the older
yes.
women in particular are well, the men too. Yeah, the men too.
The men too. They go, okay, when you gonna what is this about? Like, you know, this ain't, you can't keep this forever. So it's funny because now he's going through the transition that I went through 7 years ago.
Wow.
The roles have reversed.
Well, you know, it's a prerogative of men to grow their hair out too. Like, I don't know how I would feel about that. Wait, I'm thinking about my life in that moment. my husband all of a sudden said that he wanted to grow his hair out,
Did you have to help him?
I was looking, oh no, I don't need any more hair.
Right.
No.
And you know, they can't do their hair themselves. They're like, oh, babe, you know, I want to do something different with my hair. Can you help me? You know, I want to do something different. So, yeah, it's 2 heads of hair, because he has a lot of hair. He has a good 3 to 4 inches right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what's his curl type?
He's definitely between them. He's more of a 4C.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He has no curl pattern.
Oh, wow.
But I feel like that kind of hair, his hair is easier to manipulate though. Because my hair is more coily.
Okay.
So his hair is easier to deal with, his texture.
So, you think his is more wiry?
Yes, definitely.
You know what? That is easier to deal with.
Yeah.
It is.
It's fluffier. I can pretty much put it in whatever style.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 to that, because when it's coily, because my daughter's hair, my youngest daughter's hair in particular, hers is very coily, and it's a very regular coil. So while it's not loose, it's very tight, but the challenge is it coils so tight that when you elongate it or stretch it out, then it automatically knots up. And so you're right, when it's wiry, then it's more zigzag, and you can actually manipulate it better because it has less of a tendency to shrink up into that little tiny circle and knot up. So I understand exactly what you're talking about. You have to excuse me for being very descriptive, because one, we're on the radio, but 2, I want people to understand exactly what I'm talking about. So you have to excuse me for that. But wow, that's interesting that he's doing that, because I don't know what I would do. I would have to check to make sure that my husband wasn't going through a midlife crisis, because but I'm sure you're okay. You're
I'm
okay
okay with it. He was inspired
No.
by it. He's just like, I guess he's seen someone, and he's just like, I'm gonna grow my hair out. So we've been on this growing his hair out for about a year and a half now. Yeah. So he cut it off again, and then he's growing it back out now. It got really long. Like,
so what made him cut it off if his goal is to?
Graduation was coming up, so he graduated,
Oh.
and I guess he wanted a new look, and he told his barber to take just a little off, and the barber, you know what happens.
Of course. Of course.
He came back, and I was like, what happened to your hair?
And that is so frustrating, because you have this goal, and the barber is like, I want you looking nice when you leave here because you represent me, and he probably thought it was too long and probably too unruly himself. Wow. So, do you think you'll ever go back to relaxed hair?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can still achieve the straight look with my natural hair. So I love the versatility. So whenever I want to get it straight, I can get it straight. And
Even in the summertime, or you just don't even deal with it?
so I didn't deal with it in the summertime until I found those products. What are they called? The texture manageability systems. They're supposed to like coat your hair. I know you're gonna give me the side eye for this.
I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about, so keep talking so I can
And it's
figure out.
the idea of it is supposed to be, I don't know, it's not a Brazilian blowout, but it's kind of on the same lines of it.
I know what you're talking
It's
about.
over the counter, like the cream of nature, but beautiful textures is the one I was using at the time.
Okay.
And they had a texture manageability system. And so it was helping my hair not frizz all the way back up.
Okay.
Now what was in it, I don't know.
Of
But-
course. Of course.
I used it and it helped me stay. I was in LA and I wanted my hair straight, and so it helped to stay straight.
But LA is lower.
I
humidity,
know, that
though,
helped me
so
too.
I was getting ready to say that wasn't the real test. You should have gone to like Houston or somewhere where there's a lot of humidity.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the only time I tried it, and most of the times when I straighten my hair is during the winter when it's not so humid.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to do it otherwise.
Okay, so you answered the question.
Yeah,
The
I
question
know.
was, what do you do in the summertime? And usually you just let it be natural.
Oh, it shrinks up, and I just let it be natural. I'm not gonna fight with it.
I hear you. I hear you. I
Cause it's a
understand.
battle when you try to, even a twist out is a battle, cause it just goes right back to whatever it was.
Yeah. That's one of the problems that I experienced when I was natural. I started doing twist outs, and I actually liked the twist out. It looked really cute. And the third day, and I've told this story when I did the show a few years back, so if you heard this, I apologize if you have to hear it again, but it was hilarious because I'm getting ready to go to work, and my husband stops me, and he's like, he hands me a mirror, and he said, you may want to look at the back of your head. Now, I told you in an earlier segment that my crown is like super tight. I was horrified when I looked at it. Oh my God, it was all matted. I mean, and I felt it. I mean, I felt back there, and I thought it was okay, but when I saw it, horrified. Just, and yeah, so that didn't work out too well. And that was in the wintertime. I can't even imagine in the summertime how that would work out for me. And I've dealt with my daughter's hair. She wanted to wear her hair out, a twist out, and she wore it, and it started, the humidity got to it, and it started shrinking, and I was like, yeah, that's not looking like it did when we left the house. So I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. This is going to be an interesting process for me, and we'll see. Yeah, like I said, I'm not promising anything. I've started experimenting. Well, not really experimenting. So your lightness of hair is experimenting. I've started coloring my hair because I'm tired of plucking, or I stopped plucking my gray in June because, I just get irritated by it. Pluck it. And then there are studies that have shown that even though it was a mice model, that they could induce hair growth by plucking. Now, not to say, it needs to be studied more, but when people say, if you pluck your hair, it won't grow back, or if you pluck your gray, then more gray will come. Yeah, gray is going to come. And I mean, I've been plucking I got my first gray when I was 14. So I mean, I've been plucking for a really long time. But I am not convinced that when you pluck, more gray will come, because my grayness pattern is really following my mom. And my children's hair is mimicking ours, because I got my first gray at 14. My oldest daughter got hers at 14, and I have a 14-year-old now, and her gray has come in the exact same spot. It is like, yeah, it's amazing. I love genetics. It's really amazing. But yeah, so I suspect that they'll have the same thing going on with them. So by the time they're in their 40s, if they don't pluck, they'll have no full gray. But it's funny because the stylist who's doing my hair, she's like, oh my God, you have a lot of gray. And I was like, oh, I'm very effective. When I was plucking, oh yeah. My little time that I had, my husband plays video games, and I would spend my time plucking grays. So I was very effective, so she was really amazed when I let it grow out. But anyway, so I'm experimenting with color, but I don't want to change the color of my hair. So it's like, the color that I have is the color of my hair, but I'm experimenting because it's on top of the relaxed hair. And I know that my hair tends to be a little bit fragile, so this is going to, I'm really testing.
Yeah, I was definitely an experiment too. I honestly thought that my hair was going to come out, but I was open to another big chop. So I was like, oh, okay, if it doesn't go well, then I'm just going to big chop again.
So how long has it been? Even though you have the roots colored, I see again, but they're really light.
That was about a year and a half ago. No, it was a year ago, not a year and a half, a year ago.
Well,
and it's still here.
Yeah. Yep. And like you said, it loosens it up a little bit, so kind of a win-win now that you know that it's going to stay on your head.
Yeah.
So that's great.
It's a win-win until you let it grow out. Then you gotta deal with those two things.
Yes. Well, we're gonna take one more break, but I do have a couple more questions for you that we'll talk about in the other segment. But I do want to talk about those wind conditioners and people complaining about hair loss and what my thoughts are, because I have an opinion on it, and it's not necessarily, some stuff I will give you will be based on science, and the other is just my opinion, because I do have have a perspective based on my experience with hair. So for those of you who may have questions, I may be able to get 1 or 2 in, so please hit us up on Facebook on either How the Hair Are You or also Main Insights. We are also live on Periscope, also called Main Insights. And then if you want to try calling in, the number here is 773-821-4960. Once again, 773-821-4960. So we will be back in about 10 minutes and see you on the other side.
Have you done radio before?
That's okay. Hey.